Good afternoon. So this story comes from a homemade igloo in Edinburgh, here in a very cosy place despite the cold. I'd like to read you a small story, another story actually, to do with the Vikings and the Orkneyian sagas. Maes Howe, or Maes Howe, is among the finest chambered tombs in Europe, dating from around 2700 BC. It is said to have been inhabited by a creature known as Hogboy, but human beings too left their mark on the site. When it was excavated in 1861, the archaeologists found that they were not the first on the scene. Vikings had broken in about 700 years earlier and left graffiti on the walls. The presence of the 12th century Vandals is recorded in 24 runic inscriptions, two of which refer to Josarfara, literally meaning Jerusalem farers or crusaders. The sort of thing people write on walls hasn't changed all that much over the centuries. Thorny Beged Helgi writes it, perhaps the tomb, macabre though it might seem, was where the locals did their courting, or perhaps the men were thinking of happier times. Ingrid is the most beautiful of women, says one inscription. Also carved here is a picture of an animal usually interpreted as a dragon, and some of the writings relate to buried treasure. The poem Beowulf tells of a horde guided by a dragon in a barrow containing a secret passage, and it has been suggested that on entering Maes Howe, the Vikings drew the dragon and wrote the runes because they were so vividly reminded of the episode. There may, however, have been some factual element. One of the inscriptions states that treasure was concealed northwest of the barrow, and in 1858 a cache of Viking silver ornaments was found at Sandwick, some way northwest of Maes Howe. Particularly interesting is an inscription in large, even runes informing us that these were cut with the axe which belonged to Gauka Tranderson in the south of Iceland. The carver does not add his name, but Herman Paulson of Edinburgh University has used centuries-old Icelandic poetry to establish his identity. He was Fulharl Asgrimsson, named in the Orkneyian saga as the captain of the ship that brought Earl Ronval Kali back from the Crusades to Orkney late in 1153, and great-great-great-grandson of Asgrimur Elitha Grimsson, named in Njal's saga as the slayer of Gaukar Thrandarson. The axe of the victim was kept as an heirloom by the killer's family for 6 generations, around 200 years, and was brought to Orkney by a direct descendant of Osgrimr. The tracing of its history is an astounding example of archaeological and scholarly detective work. So endeth my second story.